I'm Anthony Sitko from Capes on the Couch, a show that examines the mental health issues of comic book characters, part of the GonnaGeek Network, just like the show you're checking out now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other stupendously geeky shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
This is the official GonnaGeek.com show. Here we run down the latest news and happenings in the world of geek. These are your hosts for the show, Steven, Chris, and SP.
Welcome to an all-new episode of the official GonnaGeek Show. I am Steven, and I am pleased to say... Can't even say it. Chris Farrell's here.
Hi, I'm here, and I'm still happy.
I'm also pleased to say he is frozen. Stargate Pioneers here.
I am. I spent 2 hours this morning in below freezing temperatures trying to get out of my own driveway.
Well, I'm the Canadian here, and it wasn't that bad of a day out there.
Uh-huh. What was it, 60 Fahrenheit?
Well, right now, my outdoor temperature, and it's, what time is it? It's 4:15 in the afternoon, says it's somewhere between 5 and 6 degrees Celsius. So that's not bad.
Is that 60 degrees Fahrenheit?
5 Celsius to Fahrenheit. Google tells me 41 Fahrenheit.
Okay.
It's 14 degrees Fahrenheit here. It'll be in single digits with negative wind chill tomorrow.
Yeah,
I'm very excited to not go outside.
I might wear shorts tomorrow just for fun.
Short shorts?
I will too, because I'm just staying inside all day.
Fair enough. Hey guys, you last week, 2 weeks ago, had an action-packed show that we said was going to be short, and it was 50 minutes.
It was short.
It was short. Usually we're a lot longer, right?
Lately.
That's what I tell them all the time.
Well, this one, we got 6 news topics this week. So if you are ready to do that, let's go ahead and get into the news. All right, we're going to start off with Chris Farrell. He says that Spotify sucks. I think that was his exact words.
Because I'm the one that makes the sidebar. So yes, it was me. But before we can talk about Spotify, I have to give you guys a little bit of background. So there's a company by the name of Luminate that puts together a lot of the overall metrics for streaming music over the previous years. They did release their year-end report for 2025 with plenty of stats for the streaming industry. The biggest being that in 2025, we saw 5.1 trillion on-demand audio streams of music globally. That's up 9.6% year over year, with those streams split between 253 million individual tracks. According to Luminate, 120.5 million tracks had 10 streams or less last year, with another 62.6 garnering 11 to 100 and 40.7 million played between 101 and 1,000 times. In other words, 88% of the available tracks were streamed fewer than 1,000 times in 2025. At the other end of the scale, 29 tracks got more than 1 billion streams in 2025. Luminate noted the tracks with between 1 million and 50 million streams accounted for 49.4% of all streaming, meaning people find stuff that they really like and they'll listen to it a lot on repeat. So the real question is, why does this matter? Why is Chris telling me about music streaming statistics? Well, there's an interesting little tidbit I saw back on the 15th of January, so about 11 days ago as we record this, from the United Musicians and Allied Workers Blue Sky account. So why do I bring this up? Well, in April 2024, Spotify implemented a new schema. Songs with less than 1,000 streams per year would no longer receive royalties. The data for 2025 was just released via Luminate, and 88% of the songs that were in there have been demonetized. Yes, you read that right. 88% of the songs that made up all of the streams of 2025, the artists received no royalties on. So
I didn't read that. You told me about it.
Yeah. Okay. So I audibly told you, and if you have closed captioning on, perhaps you read it. How about that?
Maybe I read it in a transcript.
Yeah, transcripts are on. But the key takeaway here is Spotify is not having to pay people because they changed their new schema. And this doesn't really seem quite right when 88% of what they played, in theory, they're not paying out.
So it really is a scheme.
I see what you
I
did there.
I called it a scheme.
I see what you did there. So I'll kind of follow up with this is, what streaming service do you guys use, if any, for your music? Is it Spotify? And if it is, are you perhaps rethinking it some, maybe based off of the money that your favorite artist might or might not be receiving now?
I don't know. I don't know what to do. I have reasons that I currently use YouTube Music. I have reasons that I was trying to get away from that. Spotify was kind of technically in a checkbox that I made me want to go to them, but now I'm like, I don't want to support that. That's dirty.
Yeah.
So I will only listen to me playing the spoons, I think.
I'm a little confused, Chris, because the only thing that ever streams is Taylor Swift. So I don't understand.
I mean, you just got to shake it off is what SP's saying.
Yeah. I don't listen to streaming music. And when I do, on the rare occasion that I listen to music, it's through one of two means. One is I just ask the A word to play me a song, one song only. Or I will go to a pre-existing musical playlist on my iPhone that hasn't changed for 10 years.
Is it the same song that you play? Like there's one song that you will ask it to play, and there's no other songs that you'll ask for it to play.
I'll go back and forth between, I don't know, a dozen, maybe half a dozen songs. I don't know. But yeah, I don't listen to all that much music.
How about you, Chris? What do you? Because you're a Spotify guy, right?
I am not. I use YouTube Music because it's still part of my old and now depreciated Pixel Pass bundle that I have been using. So I still get it at a discounted rate as part of the Pixel Pass because they can't take it away from me. And I did some digging.
Don't say can't.
Well, they could, but it'd be difficult. I mean, basically, if I want to upgrade to any of the better AI Gemini tools, I would have to cancel that plan and then redo it all, which is why I haven't. But why I bring this up is I'd done a little bit of searching to try and figure out what YouTube's music streaming rights were. And it did not seem that they had a similar method where if you were not played X number of times, you don't get paid out. It seems as though they are still paying out, even if it is, for lack of a better term, a pittance, basically, of money because you've been streamed 3 times or something like that. So it seems, from what I could tell, that YouTube was in the clear. I honestly did not check some of the other stuff like Tidal or Apple Music because, to be blunt, I didn't care because I don't use them.
Fair enough.
Now, I do have a follow-up for you to kind of lighten the mood a little bit is, what do you think might have been the biggest on-demand video stream? So we're talking music video kind of things.
From last year on YouTube?
From 2025 on YouTube.
Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You.
That's a good one. I'll also mention this song got 2.02 billion views in 2025, 600 more than a Bruno Mars and Rosé combination. So we're talking.
It's got to be Taylor Swift.
No. So here's where I'm tricking you. It is, in fact, a video for the Wheels on the Bus.
Nice. I was going to say the Muppet theme, but yeah, I like it.
So preschools, they're just playing YouTube. Is that what we've learned from this?
So what we might be learning here is, as part of the morning way to start class or something like that, a lot of people may just be playing the Wheels on the Bus as part of their classroom pattern for younger children.
Or
and
morning
if you think about it,
yeah.
when I was a kid, they always had like records that were of the regular songs they wanted the classes to sing and stuff like that. In today's world, YouTube is probably far easier than having to dig out a record or a tape or a CD, and you just push play on the computer and hey, here comes Wheels on the Bus. Who doesn't like Wheels on the Bus at a certain age?
So what you're saying is we need to start singing it right now and then publish our own version, the GonnaGeek Show version of the Wheels on the Bus.
The question is, can we? Is it Is it in public domain yet? Because it's not fair use for us to say we're going to sing our own version of it unless we did a parody. If we parodied it, we'd be okay.
Let's find out. Is Wheels on the Bus in public domain yet? Let's find
the track
out.
On the snowmobile goes round and
It's
round,
widely
round
considered to
and
be public domain.
widely considered does not give me a warm
This
fuzzy about
says
not
the
getting
song
sued.
was written by Verna Hills in 1939. Now, this could be hallucinating because, I just decided
Therefore,
that I was going to burn a bunch of water to answer this question. But
freely use the traditional Wheels on the Bus song, but you cannot use a specific modern recorded version of it without permission.
so we can do it.
So we can do it, is what you're saying. All right.
I'm not saying I'm not an attorney. Don't pin that juju
The
on
lawyer
me.
SP says this is legal advice. That's right. Right? Is that what you just
Stargate Pioneer Esquire,
said?
No, not Esquire. No.
LLC Esquire. Sorry. Use the limited liability corporation.
Oh, there you go. That's all you got to do. That's all
You
got
can
to
have
do.
all
is-
the liability because you're the
I was
LLC.
going to say, all we have to do is open up a corporation, do a bunch of bad things, and then close the corporation. Liability exposure gone. That's all.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that's how that works. Anyways, if you would like to
I'll
hear
allow it.
about this, please come to the Gonna Geek Discord and ask for your Gonna Geek edition of the Wheels Go Bus. Wheels go round. Wheels on the bus go round. Whatever. Wheels on the bus. That's what it's going to be.
Now I want to play this video.
Well, Chris, thank you for telling us about that. I am sorry to hear that you will not be getting your royalties from your song this year.
What song did I do?
I don't know. I thought you did something.
I'm curious what that would be. Put your comments in the chat.
There we go.
Send them to me in a skeet on Blue Sky.
8.4
What's a skeet?
That's what posts are.
billion views 7 years ago.
Which the wheels on the bus go round and round?
Yeah, from
Did they monetize it? Is the question.
Cocomelon nursery
Yeah.
rhymes and kid songs.
Somebody's got to take a bite out of that. That's a monopoly on the wheels. The wheels on the bus go round and round. They need to get out of that monopoly. Somebody should shut them down.
I don't know.
All right.
This video is pretty captivating.
We've lost SP. He's done for the rest of the
Well,
show.
while he's
just
doing
gonna
that,
be
I'll tell
sitting there
you-
like the wheels on the bus.
I mean, one of the little kids has one of the steering wheel things on his lap and is pretending to steer the bus.
I can steer the bus.
Yeah, I know you can.
Can
And
you do the
can
bus
steer it
driver
in-
dance like out of Scrubs?
I don't know what the bus driver dance
Yeah,
is.
I've not seen that.
It's like Turk was driving the bus and he'd have to open the door and he'd wave people in and close the door and drive.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
now I
Yeah,
feel
I can
old.
see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just
Okay.
realized that show was off the air like 20 years ago. So if anyone young is watching this, like, what the hell is this guy talking
But it's
about?
coming back.
Well, it's relevant because Scrubs comes back in February
There you go.
What year?
this year.
Okay.
All right. Well, next news point here. I'll tell you all about Google because Google has agreed to pay a $68 million US settlement for a lawsuit claiming that its voice assistant spied inappropriately. A preliminary class action settlement was filed late on Friday in California, and it requires still the whole judicial portion to happen, to be signed off and whatnot. But this came out of the fact that Google was accused of illegally recording and disseminating private conversations after the Google Assistant was triggered in order to send them targeted advertisements. Now, this preliminary settlement comes with Google saying that they did not do this because it was claimed that the recordings were shared with advertisers. Google says that they are settling this in order to avoid the litigation, and they have denied accusations, but they have not actually commented on too many more details. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, wow, $68 million, guess what? A third of that's going to go to lawyer fees because let's be real, that's where it always goes for class action lawsuits. So
Yeah, that's
if
where the
you,
money is.
Yep, if you had a Google device, you should keep your eyes on that because I assume there's going to be something you'd have to fill out, but you might get involved with that. But it doesn't stop there, because if you also had an Apple device, and I believe it was not terribly long ago, Apple agreed to pay a $95 million settlement alleging that some of its devices were listening to people through the voice-activated assistant Siri without permission. Similar thing. So I look at this and I go, okay, are they spying? Question mark. I don't know. There's a lot of questions about that in everything, whether it's Facebook and other apps. But I go, two voice assistants from two notable brands, both denying the thing, saying that it probably was just to settle the lawsuit. I think to myself, it's probably not actually malicious. It probably is something where, yes, they're going off. Yes, they're being captured. You know that Google's mining data. People don't want to believe Apple's mining data, but they are. And so,
but Steven, Apple protects my privacy. They say so all the time.
I know, right? So I think to myself, there probably is a merit there to them actually going off when they shouldn't have been going off. But was it intentionally nefarious? I don't know. I tend to think not. Now, whether you think this is worth a class action or not, if they were going off when they shouldn't have, I'll leave that up to you. But I wanted to ask you guys here, are you going to try to get some money out of these lawsuits here?
Yes, all the money. A third of it.
When it's all said and done, you'll get to be able to buy a cup of coffee with your proceeds if you're
I'm trying
lucky.
to remember what the lawsuit was. If it was a Facebook, I think it was an Apple
There's
lawsuit.
a Facebook one that just settled.
Right.
Like, I think I got my $3.
I actually got like, I got like $100 and some dollars. It must have been the Apple.
Yes, it was, because I think you told us about it on this show, actually, come to think about it. That was the one where there was the battery thing, wasn't it? Where they were capping it, or capping the device performance or something. I think so. I forgot to get in on it in Canada. It wasn't that much anyways, but I forgot to get in on it when it came here too. But if you are going to participate in this lawsuit, I'd love you to come to the Discord. Well, not participate, but claim your $3, like Chris said. Come to the Discord. Let us know what your thoughts are about this. Tell me if you disagree that it was probably not intentionally nefarious. Maybe I am half glass fulling it, but I don't know. I guess I just look at it from the perspective that we've seen these voice assistants go off all the time when they shouldn't be. And I think it was probably some lawyers successfully managing to milk that for some money.
If it makes them go off less accidentally, maybe that's a good thing, because I have problems all the time. My office, I have 2 A words on opposite ends of the office, one at my desk and then one on a end table by my chair. And if I say something to the A word to give it a command, the one on the other side of the room then gets triggered when it says, I have a new voice. If you want to try it, say blank, try my new voice. And then it triggers the other one. And I'm like, no, I don't want that. Shut up. And then it forced the new voice on me anyways yesterday.
We should throw
Damn you, Bezos. Damn you, Bezos.
Well, let's go on to some uplifting news, because if there's one thing that SP knows how to do, it's how to make a dress wet.
Yeah, I do.
Water balloons?
Well, you push your date into the pool. That's
okay, fair enough.
Christian,
okay.
my date. I'll just push
you
him
got
into
a
the
pool that's not frozen? Because if you push me into the pool right now, I'm just going to concuss myself and die.
Indoor hotel pool.
Oh, acceptable. There's enough chlorine there that I'll not be able to tell all the pee in
it. Exactly. So no, we're not talking about dresses and dates and women. Actually, we are talking about dates, but it's Artemis. It's Artemis 2. I know we talked about it last time. This is the continuation. It actually rolled out, like we said, on the 17th of January. I don't know if either of you two watched it. I had it streaming on in the background. I was at my parents' house, and they were very intrigued with it until they figured out it was a 12-hour stream. And then they went off to do other things for the majority of the day. But they did keep checking in on it, and it did make the transit. It was successful. It left. It got to the pad 39B. And the next big step is the wet dress rehearsal, which is supposed to be no later than February the 2nd. However, the temperature does not look really good for February the 2nd. There is a journalist that covers the space launch or space systems, everything space. His name's Eric Berger. He's got a couple of books out there, and he posted on the X, hey, does anybody know what the thresholds are for SLS? And then for those that aren't really familiar with the SLS system, let me just tell you, it's a carbon copy, at least the rocket systems of the space shuttle. And you all remember what happened back in 1987 with the Challenger, right? Y'all remember what happened? Cold weather shrunk the O-rings.
I was very young, so
I was
I
also
don't really
3,
remember
but
that.
I do remember from documentaries after.
Yeah, right. From documentary. Very
Okay.
good. Or
enough.
me pontificating after a few beers. Shrunk the O-rings, and then it exploded. The solid rocket motor exploded and then caused the whole thing to explode because it launched in cold weather. Well, do you really want to put a bunch of rocket fuel on board the same solid rocket boosters in cold weather?
Don't threaten me with a good time.
So
I actually didn't know that was the reason why. I didn't know it was the weather.
I didn't either.
yeah, it's a very documented thing. President Reagan was pushing to have it launch with the teacher on board so he could talk about it in a State of the Union address later that night. So there was go fever at NASA. They ignored the engineers' caution, and they went anyway, and it did exactly what the engineers said. And the engineers involved, one in particular, really had it for the rest of his life. It really impacted him because he couldn't stop. He knew it was bad, and he just couldn't stop it. I've been there before. I've warned people in leadership that this is not a great thing to do. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And in this particular case, it doesn't work. So the solid rocket boosters are not going to be fueled because they're already in the booster, but still they do have temperature gradients of which they can perform the wet dress rehearsal and the launch. And it looks like the weather in Florida, particularly at Kennedy Space Center, is going to be underneath that temperature at that point in time. So we'll see if it actually happens. Maybe the forecast is wrong. We are a week away. So let's just wait and see if it'll go. If it goes and it's successful, their first launch date is February the 6th. But if the wet dress rehearsal occurs and it is less than successful, I doubt it will go in February. And we're pretty much looking at the March dates at that point in time anyway. March 6th through the 11th would be the launch dates. And then in April, it's April 1st through the 6th. It's not every day, but those are the dates that it would be looking at. So that's the next step. However, 14 days before the trip, the astronauts go into quarantine, and that happened on Friday, the 23rd of January. So just a couple of days ago. The 4 astronauts, Reed Wiseman, Christina Koch, Jeremy Hansen, and Victor Glover are ready to go. Jeremy, by the way, is Canadian. And I have to ask you, I don't think I've asked you this before. There's a couple of questions I want to ask you. So the first one, Stephen, is there any sort of excitement whatsoever in Canada for this? You're sending a Canadian around the moon.
Not yet, no. We've been busy with other things.
Right. I think the entire world is, and they're really just not tracking this at all. Or maybe they don't really care because we've been there and done that back in 1968. This is a repeat of the 1968 flight that was Apollo 8 way back then on Christmas Day. So that's number one. That's the first question I wanted to ask you. And the second question, Stephen, I have to ask you, do you feel comfortable sending a countrymate, I don't know what you want to call it, on the Orion spacecraft, knowing that the heat shield may be flawed?
Well, I don't know him. So,
No, I thought all Canadians knew all Canadians.
Right? Your country has like 15 people in it, right?
yeah, no, he's 3 doors down, not 2. I only talked to the ones 2 doors down. So, I am actually a little disappointed that there's not been much discussion about this. I have heard more about it from you than anywhere else, and it's disappointing because it is a very exciting thing. We a while back got in a bit of a debate about another Canadian astronaut, Chris Hadfield.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hadfield. Yeah.
And
widely regarded as a good person and a good astronaut.
Yep. And so there was lots of fun around that at the time, but this kind of off the radar.
All right.
At
First time we've sent people at least to the lunar area since 1972. First time that we've sent people outside of the low Earth orbit envelope. So it's since 1972. So there's a lot, but if it does launch in February, you got a bunch of stuff happening the first week of February. You got the Super Bowl, which has your Patriots in it. So you're probably more focused on the Patriots. I know.
Go Patriots.
Yeah, right. You're probably more focused on them. I mean, I don't want to take anybody's enjoyment away from them. I know that the entire country is throwing up in their mouths over this whole thing, but I know you are a Patriots fan, so you will get joy out of it. And then the Olympics start. So we have other things going on, and then there's stuff in the news, which we won't talk about. But those other things are happening at the same time. The important
superb owl moment is not the Patriots playing. It's that we're supposedly getting a Doomsday trailer.
Oh,
that's important
exciting
thing.
That is exciting. What's going on with that?
Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom. The internet's mad. The internet's mad about everything. If you want to see the stupidest thing they're mad about, wait until my news later.
Hold on. People are mad now about this? Wasn't this like 2 years ago?
They're mad about everything, dude.
They
get mad over the stupidest things. Like they're still mad about Starfleet Academy and the fact the captain doesn't wear shoes. And instead of just moving on with it,
out of uniform,
or that she sits in the chair weird, like others wouldn't do that. And then people are like, here's photos of all the others doing it. Calm down. It's the internet. People are just mad about everything. There's a cartoon that kind of became a meme where it's like a guy's opening his mouth to get angry and the guy holds his lips shut and goes, shh, let people enjoy things. That's where I'm at right now.
Well, that's just what I said to Stephen with his New England Patriots. I'm going to let you enjoy it. The rest of us can care less, but I know you're going to enjoy it.
They have to suffer as long as the rest of us have. It is not fair that they get 2 years of crappiness and the section and the suffering stops. I am so upset.
I have been so realistic about this going into everything. I talked about it pre-show on one of our recordings. I never thought they were going to make it that far, and I am completely realistic. I'm like, they went from 2 really bad years to suddenly being in the Super Bowl against the Seahawks, which have had a very strong year, have an extra year into the rebuild, and you could say more if you want to just go past the coach. And it's like, we'll see. I hope it's fun. I hope the playoffs have been a lot of fun. We'll see. I hope it's fun, but I'm realistic about where the team's at. Anyways, putting that aside, I want to get back to the Star Trek thing, because didn't Harry Kim sit on the bridge playing his clarinet in that exact same pose, or am I wrong on that?
Admiral Kim.
He became an admiral according to Starfleet Academy, but that's
but this was when he was an ensign.
And then when Vash was on the bridge of the Enterprise, she sat in Picard's chair with her feet on it. Did you hear people having shit fits, for lack of a better term? I don't think you have to bleep that. If you do,
Vash
I apologize.
Was cool.
She was.
So I haven't watched the show, and I've talked about it a bit in our Discord, which you should come over to our Discord, because we do have a lot of fun channels, including a TV and film talk. And my opinion, this series is going to be canceled, and that has nothing to do with the content. It could have been the greatest thing ever. We've just seen what's happened with Star Trek right now, and where this current version of the IP is going. It's going to be canceled along with all the other ones.
Sundance is doing a complete review of the Star Trek and where they want to go. So it's probably more associated with that than anything else.
Yeah, there were reports today it was getting season 2 and that Kurtzman's deal was getting extended.
Yeah, but I think I think its shelf life is short. Like I don't think this
You
is
have to
going to
keep
be.
some content.
It's 3
coming
seasons
out, right?
max.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's where I'm at is it is not something that I really want to invest in because I really think that whatever happens with this, it's going to get canceled at some point here, and then this current version is done of what was built out of Discovery, and so I think like I really, really, really didn't like how they took the approach of a big time jump in Discovery. Like, I think the concept, you've talked about it before, Chris, to your credit, the idea of distancing yourself from existing canon comes with a whole bunch of benefits. I didn't like how we got there, and I thought it was unbelievable. And so the whole premise of this show is set in something that I have a real hard time with the suspension of disbelief. So because I really had that issue in Discovery. So I kind of want to just like ignore this series and then just whatever.
So I'll counter with 3 words.
Okay.
Bob effing Picardo.
I know. And that's why I don't want to let it get wrecked if I don't like it.
Aside from that, I do have an issue with the time jump and society being pretty much the same. Now I know the burn has changed stuff and whatever, but everybody is talking the same. You still have the same species, you know, that sort of stuff, right? So 1,000 years in a technologically advanced age is going to change things radically. Look at how our society has changed in the last 100 years. If you were in 1926 and then you came forward to 2026 or 150 years ago, right? Look at how much society has changed. Out of 1,000 years, society is going to radically change. So I have a problem from that aspect.
And Steven, I know that you're not a fan of Discovery and the burn, but there's actually a really good comic going on right now. It's called Star Trek: The Last Starship that takes place with the burn and immediately thereafter about how the Federation recovers. And it may somehow, without spoiling how it happens, involve one Captain James T. Kirk.
No, we saw how the burn happened, didn't we?
The real Kirk?
This is the fallout from the burn and how the Federation is handling it. There is one last Federation starship, when it's all said and done, that relies on transwarp to get around because they make a deal with someone from Picard season 2 to get transwarp. You'll be assimilated, Steven. You'll love it. There's your hint for who they make the deal with.
I don't think I like this.
Girardi's Borg, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah.
She's the chief engineer on the new starship.
Okay, I really don't like this then.
The Borg Queen is the chief engineer. Well,
that was her. She had 2 conditions for giving the Starfleet transwarp access. One, that she would be the one that was the engineer on the ship, and 2, that they gave her access to Daystrom. And when she got access to Daystrom, she took Jim Kirk's body and they bring him back.
Okay,
all right,
fair enough.
So I don't care for the prosthetics, the Borg prosthetics, but she's hot. So I'm going to go with it.
I didn't like a lot of that stuff in Picard anyways. So let's go on to the next news point here, which is more
after our random aside.
You got more space news, which I think is about Glenn Close, right?
Right. Actually, I would like to see Glenn Close go up in New Shepard because I think that would be a riot.
Wait, Glenn Close got a new Shepard?
No, New Shepard.
Commander Shepard?
No, just whatever. So I just wanted to update everybody on what's going on with New Glenn and Starship. You know, the 2 big reusable rockets that the United States has available to it right now, and hopefully we'll lend it to our partners, including the Canadians and the Europeans and the Australians and that sort of stuff. So what's happened is, remember that we talked about New Glenn 2 was launched, it came back, it landed, and they were going to reuse it to relaunch, or they were going to relaunch it, but they were going to launch the Lunar Lander, which is a prototype of what New Blue Origin wants to use to land astronauts on the moon. Well, that trip's not going to happen because their lunar lander, which was previously announced, is, I guess, running a little bit behind, and it needs to go for some testing in Houston right now before it makes it there. So they decided to skip over that, at least for now. They are going to relaunch the booster, which is Never Tell Me the Odds. And they're going to launch a Bluebird internet satellite sometime in late February. So that's going to be awesome. New Glenn is an awesome, beautiful rocket. It is in between the Falcon 9 and Starship, and it's reusable. And because it burns cleaner fuel, it doesn't get as sooty as Falcon 9 gets. So I don't know if any of y'all saw it on the barge as it was coming in, but on Jacqueline when it was coming in, but it looked pristine. It looked like it was ready to go for another launch. So I'm really excited about this. So that's the cadence that we're talking about right now, is late February for the next New Glenn launch. And then Starship Flight 12, just today, Mr. Musk said Starship launch in 6 weeks. So we're talking about something that's late February or early March for the next launch.
Is that real time or Elon time?
Yeah, I was going to say, don't we multiply that by 3?
Here's the rub. So they need to get the Starship to survive reentry, right? And the only way that they've been testing these tiles to get down to the Earth was on Starship, which had a very slow launch cadence. I mean, biggest rocket ever. They're launching it like 6 times a year. I think that's pretty good. But they needed some testing to happen a little bit more rapidly. So over the weekend, on a Falcon 9 fairing, which is the top of the rocket that launched on a Falcon 9 from Vandenberg, they tested some tiles on the fairing. And the fairings come back, they're reused. So it does go through re-entry, maybe not on the same trajectory, maybe not on the same at the same velocity or angle of attack, but they actually tested some tiles on that. And I'm like, okay, somebody's finally thinking over there at SpaceX, like, well, we need these tiles to work, and we don't have any way to test it unless we launch Starship. Well, wait a minute, we are launching 3 times a week. So why don't we just test it on one of those? So I don't know what kind of data they actually got from it, but I thought that was very ingenious. But it does underscore the fact of Elon time, as you were just saying, and the fact that things are moving a little bit slower with Starship than everybody would like. I mean, the company wants to move faster. We want it to move faster. The customers want it to move faster. And it's just been slow. Now, they are amassing this huge machine to both create new starships and launch them. We've talked about it before, but we need to get over this hump to get there. And I think it's pretty cool. So both rockets are planned to be launching in the next, we'll call it 6 to 8 weeks. We'll see if Starship actually gets there, as you pointed out, Stephen.
So did they just like duct tape them on the side, or how'd that all work out?
They use speed tape, yeah.
Is that really?
No, I have no idea how it was fixed.
I was like, is that stuff able to go up?
I did not talk to the company myself. All I saw was a bunch of online posts about it and like a reference to something that I was listening to. And I was like, really? So I looked into it, and we'll see if I can't get anything out of the company myself next week when I finally get back into work. But so far, I thought it was pretty cool. They probably use the same pins that they use on the Starship itself for it. I'm just guessing, they put some of those pins on there. They retrofitted the fairing for that. So I don't know. We'll see what data they got out of it, if it was useful and if it was helpful.
Maybe they just used some no more nails. Maybe they just did that.
Liquid nails? I mean, that's a possibility. I did it with my outside wall that I have behind my grill, and that wall has been there for 20 years. So I assume it would work for the tiles.
There we go. Heard it here first. If you're building yourself a spaceship, use no more nails, liquid nail stuff.
I really don't have a question here other than, did you guys think it was going to be a realistic timeline? And Stephen, you already kind of poked that. So,
well, I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens. The whole weather situation right now, I think, just could cause a bunch of cascade of different things, because as much as people are expected to be in offices and stuff, if you can't go anywhere with such horrible weather events that are going on right now, it's not going to happen. And then that delays things. So we'll see.
Well, Florida so far has been good in the weather. Matter of fact, somebody posted a video of the people surfing in St. Augustine, by the way, during this whole event. We're like, we're in Florida. We're doing great. I'm like, yeah, it's coming, guys. But the New Glenn, I forget what it's called, Blue Moon Mark 1 lander. It's named Endurance. It's actually being shipped right now to Houston. So It's not actually, it's on the high seas or going through the canal or something like that. I think it's going there. No, it was in Florida. It was built in Florida and it was going over to Houston. That's right. So as long as the weather holds for the ship, it should get there and they should be able to do it. And also this sort of stuff, as long as you can get there, like it's not a hurricane, they will call it mission essential. So
gotcha.
I mean, this sort of stuff has a long lead time, so they need to keep it moving as much as possible.
All right, well, moving on to the next news point here. Chris, you said that you're buying yourself a new trailer. Is that what you said?
Yes, sure, we'll go with that. But what we are actually talking about is, I don't know if you remember the 1987 classic film Masters of the Universe starring Dolph Lundgren and Frank Langella. Well, it's finally time for the spin-off, I guess. I don't know. So I'm kind of joking there, but hey, there's a new trailer that just dropped for MGM/Amazon's Masters of the Universe, which is a modern retelling of He-Man, which, you know, me as an 80s child, I'm kind of a sucker for He-Man, so I was not really super excited. Then I watched the trailer and went, hey, this kind of scratches an 80s nostalgia itch I didn't realize that I had. And it was kind of cursed, the whole production of it. I'm going through and reading how many times the movie rights have changed hands. But then I go, holy crap, they actually have like names I recognize for some of the people in here. Like, let's see, Alison Brie is going to play Evil Lynn, the evil sorcerer on Skeletor's side. Idris Elba's Man-at-Arms, Marina Baccarin is the sorceress of Castle Grayskull. And then Kristen Wiig is Roboto. There's all sorts of stuff as you start going through here. And then the one that I really don't care about, which actually makes me not want to see the movie, is Jared Leto as Skeletor. But thankfully, it appears you can't actually tell it's Jared Leto. So hopefully his ridiculous, over-the-top, overacting, method acting BS is kind of obscured by the fact that he's the most evil man in the galaxy. Because, you know, I do love me some Skeletor. And looking at this teaser trailer, it does look like it is going to be set on both Earth and Eternia. It looks like a fun popcorn movie to me. And Kent's in the chat room. It was going to point on the one thing that I thought was funny. And I thought it was a well-executed joke as part of this takes place on Earth. And the trailer is kind of showing the fact that Adam is having dreams of this power sword and Eternia and stuff like this. And it pans to him in his office at his cubicle. And it has Adam and whatever his last name. And then underneath says he/him. And people are so mad that He-Man has pronouns. And I'm like, his name is He-Man, you idiots. He's had pronouns in his name since 1980 or whatever when it came out. It's a well-executed joke.
That's a great joke.
I get it. He, him, He-Man. And then people are mad about it. And I'm like, this is funny. Your reaction is dumb.
That's clever. That's very clever.
I thought it was a great little joke that you just notice and it goes by and you go, and then the people getting mad have made it like 10 times funnier to me because they can't see the humor in it.
Well, I think it's just so funny that, like, I just think that it's clever. Clever. You described it perfectly. It's so clever. So clever. Speaking about modern times and everything.
It's not like it's the greatest sight gag ever.
No.
But you look at it and you go, okay, that's pretty good. Well done.
Because it's He-Man. Yeah, that's funny.
He-Man. And then just the people mad because He-Man's got pronouns. Now I want to be like, his name is He-Man, you guys. Come on. This is what we're getting mad about.
I have not watched the trailer yet. I was afraid when I heard Jared Leto. You have got me feeling optimistic. Jared Leto is just so overrated.
But see, here's the thing. I love Alison Brie. I love Idris Elba. I love Marina Baccarin. They're like actors that I really enjoy their work. The problem is like, Skeletor is like one of the definitive villains from my childhood. I loved Masters of the Universe as a kid. Tons of the toys, things like that. And like Skeletor was the worst. My dad used to taunt me growing up because he'd be like, no, Skeletor's the good guy, the kind and benevolent Skeletor. And like single digit aged Chris would be like, no, he's not. He's the bad guy. And I would just like freak out on him. So to this day, if I say the word Skeletor, my dad just kind of looks at me and goes, the kind and benevolent Skeletor.
That's so funny. I'm a little afraid about Kristen Wiig. That's just me. I've commented a few times. I don't always get the mainstream serious comedy appeal of hers. Like I think she does a phenomenal over the top. I think that the stuff on SNL
Masters
was great.
Of the Universe. It's going to be over the top.
I guess. Yeah. Okay. I'll go with you on that ride for now. But Jared Leto, let's just commonly agree that's something that should not happen.
Yeah, it really turns me off on a bunch of movies. It's why I haven't seen Tron Ares yet, and I love Legacy and the original. And I'm like,
you know what?
Leto.
It turned me off, and there's a bunch of things that turn me off. I've watched the first 20 minutes of Tron Ares. I was actually intrigued by it. Like, if they would have marketed it differently, it would have gotten a lot more warmer reception from everybody. And unfortunately, they just didn't. So it is. I think I
have some saltiness about them not, picking up the obvious sequel bait that came out of Tron Legacy and continuing it. I mean, there was a story to be told there, and it seems like, we're going to do something else.
There was, I think what they wanted to do was pivot and then go back to it, I guess. I don't know. I haven't seen the whole movie yet, but I actually, like I said, I enjoyed it, the 20 minutes that I've seen, and I thought I was going to hate it. I was like, I need to turn this off. Unfortunately, I had to turn it off because I had to go run and do something else, and I just haven't been back to it, but I enjoyed it. I don't like Jared. I don't at all. And how his character came across and everything, it was actually like, so I wish they would have told that story a little bit better in the things. I could care less about him being in this movie. I wasn't a huge Masters of the Universe fan growing up. I was more like sci-fi, right? Mm-hmm. But do you know if Robert Duncan McNeil is going to be in it?
I don't know. He is not the director, because honestly, that's what I looked at first to see the director's credits, because Robbie Duncan McNeil is a big time, directs a lot of stuff in Hollywood now, and it was not him that was picked as the director. My guess, I don't know that he's actually acting anymore, so probably not.
I mean, just a cameo would be pretty cool.
They
right?
might be trying to ignore the fact of that previous one.
The previous one.
I mean,
they did a whole bunch of Easter eggs in Jumanji when they redid that.
I mean, but here's the thing, like the Masters of the Universe movie from the 80s is widely panned because it didn't really do much of what came out of the the cartoon and stuff like that. Now, Frank Langella was awesome as Skeletor because he hammed it up and was over the top. But It was one of Dolph Lundgren's first movies. So if you notice, he's dubbed over all of his lines because he wasn't really in a position to be ready to do it. Had a pretty decent look as He-Man, but it was not the Masters of the Universe. It was, here's our take on it. And if you were a kid who watched the cartoons who then went and watched that movie, you're like, what did I just watch?
I mean, those three, Courtney Cox, maybe Chelsea Fields, just cameos, just stupid, kind of like what they did with Lou in Incredible Hulk when he was the pizza guy, right? Stuff like that. And that's what I want to see.
They could do stuff like that. It looks like the movie's at least partially set on Earth. So you could have one of those guys be Adam's boss on Earth or something like that. Not playing the same character, just the actor, just kind of as a nice little, I know you.
Yeah, that would be good. All right. Well, I'm intrigued. I'll have to watch the trailer now.
It looks fun.
Trailer is awesome.
Yeah.
And I don't even like it.
It looks like a popcorn movie to go have fun with. I think we need to get back to a point where we're okay with just, having a dumb action movie to go watch. And it doesn't have to be the greatest thing ever. You watch back, hey, that was a blast. Maybe I'll watch it again in a few years.
Like The Last Starfighter. It was a dumb movie, but I loved it, right? That sort of thing. Yeah.
But not as crazy and dumb as Fast and the Furious.
They went to space finally.
I have not. I think
I've heard about that. I haven't seen that, but
I want to say 8 or 9. I've stopped. And
they set up another sequel for 10 part 2, and they haven't done it yet. So everyone's kind of like, "Are you going to do it? The family needs it for family."
Yeah, it's all about the family, right? I mean, people love it. People go see it. and it makes a lot of money, and it's all about entertainment, right? It's not about whether it makes sense or not. It's not about whether it's a good movie or not. It's entertainment.
So,
and Fast and Furious, for whatever reason, is still entertaining to people.
Here's the funny thing with those movies to me, and then I will stop talking so we can move on, is that like the current iteration of Fast and the Furious, they're like working for spy agencies, saving the world, blah, 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 blah. The first Fast and the Furious movie that came out in like 2000, they're boosting DVD players.
Yeah, I know.
DVD players.
It's really funny, though, to think about the current state of that series and where it came from. Like, what an evolution.
Can save it? You know what can save it for our generation or your generation? Not me.
They wake up from a coma?
No, they had Tom Cruise as a main character.
Pass.
I mean, he saved a studio.
Pass.
So yeah.
Mission Impossible
I haven't
is
seen
100% authentic 100% of the time.
I haven't seen the last one yet. I need to, but I was just like,
just for completionism. Yeah.
Well, I think isn't there supposed to still be a sequel to wrap everything up that hasn't been greenlit yet?
I don't know. I refuse to watch any more Tom Hanks or Tom Cruise movies. Tom
I was
Hanks
about
I'll
to
watch.
say Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
We're about to throw fists.
Tom Hanks is going to be in a new movie next year on Netflix, and it looked like with Sam Elliott and I'm like, wow, this actually looks pretty good.
They should make a Castaway sequel where he goes and looks for Wilson. That's what they should make.
Did you ever read the Gary Paulson books? The one was called Hatchet as a kid, where like the kid gets lost. Yeah, they made a sequel to that book. I don't know if you remember, where like a documentarian wants him to go back out to show what he did. And so he finally agrees to do it. And then there's like a friggin' lightning storm and a tree drops on the documentarian. And it's like Hatchet all over again, only now he's got to get like the critically injured documentarian out too. So anything can have a sequel.
I think I might have read that. That sounds vaguely familiar. Well,
thanks for the memories, Gary Paulson.
Let's go on to the next news point, the last one of the night, which I just gonna keep talking some Apple stuff. I know I talked Google, but I ended it with Apple. I'm just an Apple fanboy now.
He's our new king of Apple.
I'm an Apple shill. Apple shill. That's what it is.
When does your check come in? Because I haven't gotten mine yet.
Today, Apple announced a brand new AirTag. That's right. The AirTag 2 is coming out, and it features some improved capabilities. It has a longer Bluetooth range, a much louder speaker, and improved precision finding capabilities. The precision finding capabilities, there we go, is powered by Apple's second generation ultra wideband chip. And that's also found in the iPhone 17 devices, the iPhone Air, the Apple Watch Series 11, and the Watch Ultra 3. I think it's the same price. It's $29 US for a single AirTag, or $99 for a 4-pack. It is available to order now. Apple says that you'll be able to find your stuff, quote, up to 2 times further.
So 50 feet versus 25 feet?
No. Up to. So basically, if you had like the most ideal conditions, you would get 2 times. But in reality, you probably won't get anything more. You might get worse because it says up to. They say that you're going to get up to 2 times further because the new AirTag is 50% louder, meaning that you'll be able to find it closer or further away. It has an upgraded Bluetooth chip that expands the range. I do believe that. It has a distinctive new chime to make it easier to hear. Okay. So now we're really honing in on the fact that the conditions have to be perfect. And for the first time, precision finding is going to be available on the app. That for the audio listener, that is SP pushing the button on something, which we'll come back to in a minute. For the first time, precision finding is going to be available on the Apple Watch Series 9 or later, and the Apple Watch Ultra 2 or later. Now, one thing that I want to point out about that is I actually think that does legitimately help the findability, because I do think that that's more data being collected, because there are people who wear their watches with GPS out. So that is going to help improve things. I think in a situation where you're trying to get close or find a device if you got somebody with you and you know it's in this giant area. You might take your watch if it's GPS, and you might have someone take your phone and you can go look around. So I think that does actually help quite a bit, being available on the watch devices there. Now, as a reminder, if you're listening to this right now, AirTags are not GPS. Contrary to popular belief, they are just Bluetooth trackers. If you're saying, no, everybody says I could just put it in my thing and I'll be sure to find it. Well,
Nope.
In this announcement, Apple did actually put a paragraph in there that says, if AirTag is out of range of its paired iPhone, the Find My network can help track it down. The Find My network is a crowdsourced network of Apple devices that use Bluetooth technology to detect the location of an accessory or device and report their approximate location back to the owner. Now, that was way down the article, and I do legitimately think that Apple, unfortunately, they didn't really do it to themselves, but maybe they did it by omission, did convince a lot of people that the AirTags are more than they are. But that's their legal checkbox that they checked by putting that on that article. And if you know somebody who has an AirTag and is speaking in a way that makes you think that they think it's GPS, do me a personal favor. Me personally, just educate them a little bit about it, because you don't want them to put it in a situation where they, I don't know, are going somewhere completely off grid or something, and they go, I'll just bring an AirTag, then they can find me, right? Like, so you know, just make sure people know what the AirTag's purposes are, and
fair.
not to downplay the network. I am a firm believer that Apple's Find My network is the best out there. I think that it, because of how it defaults to the devices, I do think that it is really hard to beat their network as far as Bluetooth trackers go, which takes me to my question. Number one, how many people have you personally known that think AirTags are GPS? And more importantly, do you use any tracking tags of your own? I think we got the answer for SP, so go ahead and start us off.
Yeah, so I know it's not GPS. I'm painfully aware it's not GPS. I decided to use an AirTag on Cooper. Everybody remembers Cooper, the golden retriever that was my daughter's dog. And I used it, and I think we talked about me finding the collar or his name tag, because it was part of it. And if I didn't, it fell off his collar, and I was able to, a week later, locate it because I was out of state, and I was it was before you could share them. And I was able to locate it, and I was really confused because I didn't see it on the ground, because it was pushed into the ground by a mower. It was during the summer, and I kept on pressing the button of this make a sound, and I kept on hearing it, and I kept on looking up in the tree thinking a bird took it. It was actually on the ground. I've also used it to track my AirPod Pro Case 2 from the Chicago airport to the recycling place that it was transported to.
Oh, wow.
About 2 hours west of Chicago. So I used it there. Long story short, I was this was a few months ago in November. I was literally running from one end of Chicago airport to the other. And I had my earbuds in, and the case was in my pocket, and the case fell out. So I did buy another case. It was $80, but I also needed AirPods then. So I ordered them on Amazon, and they came to my parents' house, which is where I was. And I got the AirPod Pro 3s. This is the case that, well, they're in there as well. And I was going through the Minneapolis airport about a month later, and I went through, and then I started getting all these notifications on my phone and my watch that I have left this behind. And I was like, no, it's in my briefcase. And I looked through my soft-sided briefcase, couldn't find it. So finally I used Find My, and I was just blindly walking around. Luckily, I'd gotten the airport like 2.5 hours early. And what had happened is it had fallen out of my bag as it was going through the metal detector scanner.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know that. And it had been sitting in Lost and Found. And the poor TSA agent was like, yeah, you mean that AirPod case that has been constantly going off because I had been trying to press the same sound that you just heard. And I was like, yeah. And then we had a talk of like, okay, I I have an iPhone, but I've never done this before. How would I notify somebody? I'm like, well, if they put the lost thing on, which I did, then you can just bring up the app on your phone and it will tell you who to contact and what to do. And that's how you do it. And she's like, okay, thank you very much. She was the supervisor at TSA at the checkpoint that I was at. She's like, that's good to know because I will use that from now on. I can catch the person's flight that they're on. I can make an announcement and I can actually send them a text or call them from this phone. I was like, yes, you can do all those things. And that's how you do that. So there are ways to do to just notify. But yes, I have used AirTags. I've got AirTags in my luggage. I've got AirTags and some things that I'm not going to talk about. I know that I can't track them because they're not GPS, but because there are a lot of Apple devices out there that do report back and forth to each other, or they'll receive a report and then they'll go to the next node and they'll be able to report that, whatever. And that's what happened with my iPod case or AirPod case that happened to be in recycling. You can find them in normal places. You're not going to find them out in the open. You're not going to find, like, if you go on a cruise and you have AirTags in your luggage, you are not going to be able to track the cruise ship. Yeah, it's just not going to happen because the phone doesn't know where it is. You might be connected to their satellite, but it just doesn't know where it is until you get to the next port. You can track it from port to port, but you're not going to be able to track it out in the open ocean. So I have found them valuable knowing their limitations. I have used and abused them, and I am comfortable with those limitations. So that's just my spin on the old AirTags. And the newer AirTags, I think, would help me in the... Now, I'm pretty sure that this case, it doesn't have an AirTag in it. It's the case itself. I'm pretty sure it has that capability because when I was in the airport, in the Minneapolis airport looking for this, it didn't say 28 feet is generally the range of a normal AirTag. It said 73 feet away. So wow. I'm pretty sure that this has that new technology in it. I don't know for sure, but if so, it would greatly enhance your ability to find things that you've lost in public places.
Especially because that ultra wideband that's in there, how it can direct you to the item.
So I use my watch to use as a compass. I've used my phone, and the watch was new, by the way. I was like, oh, why is this working? I have Apple Watch 9 and it just started working. I'm like, well, okay, so this is neat. I had no idea that it was part of this rollout.
Yeah, that is cool. And I really do think that Apple's Find My Network is hard to beat. Now, contrary to me being an Apple shill here, I am an Android user. And Chris, I know you are as well. So do you have any tracking tags that you use yourself?
Yeah, I have the Pebblebee ones. I think I talked about them on the show years ago when I first got them. And there are some that are AirTag shaped and there's some that are wallet shaped. So like I keep one in my wallet that's one of the card sized ones. I think I've had to charge it twice the entire time I've had it. Then like I keep the AirTag size ones. I keep one on my keys, mostly for my own sake, so that if I throw my keys somewhere in the house that isn't the normal spot, I can just hit the button to make the sound and find them. And then my work backpack is one of the LTT backpacks, which has an AirTag pocket, in it. So I keep one in there too. Not that I really expect much to happen with my backpack at work or anything like that, but it's just nice to have on there in case something did happen. And then there are some devices of mine that integrate into Google's Find My app. For instance, like the Pixel Buds 2 are basically equivalent to AirTags in the way that they work, is that I constantly have a location on them and they'll use other services or other devices to be able to phone home. The Pixel Buds 1, they don't do that. It just shows you the last time it's connected to your phone. Same with my Sonos Ace headphones. But I think it's pretty interesting that the Pixel Buds 2 will constantly report the battery of both the buds and the case and give you a relatively accurate time as to when it was last seen and whether it's actively on or not. But I've not had to use them to track down something I've lost or anything like that. It's kind of just been a nice to have in case something were to happen and I guess that's the best way for it to be, is that you get them and ideally never have to use them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. For me personally, I used to be right into Tile, and I don't remember who I was before that. I think it was Tracker without an E, and they went under, I believe. But anyways, since I'm on a Samsung, did get a couple of the Smart Tags too, and those are ultra wideband. Now they are very flawed, and to be honest, I think that the there's something wrong with the battery design, where I've got them on my keys, and every now and then they just start chirping on and off, like the startup chirp. And I've looked online, and people have said there's dust that gets in there, and so I've cleaned them out and it stops. So it's a shame, because they also will do the whole bring you right there. But they only are compatible with Samsung devices. So why I say I hedge my bets a little bit is I also have started to get some of the generic Find My capable ones, the Google Find My or Android Find My Device network, whatever that's called. And so that way, I don't have all my eggs in one basket. Maybe I'll get lucky and the right network will be the one that it has the device that I lost, because the Google stuff is, last I checked, is still not opt out. It is opt in. And I'm not a big fan of opt out, but Apple has proven how opt out seems to work well for this purpose. So I'll see if either of those networks get to be as good as Apple's. Maybe worldwide, they might be better, because we've talked before about the anomaly with the Apple market share. It's growing, but like globally compared to other the Android platform. But I don't know. We'll see. In any case, and I have a wallet one too, because I used to have a Tile wallet one, and that was the one I used the most, because I'm the worst at putting my wallet down in the weirdest places in the house. Mm-hmm. And so I really missed that once the battery died on that. So I did get one of those, and that is on the Android Find My Hub, which I've already used since I got it for a Christmas gift. So
yeah, I forgot what brand it was, but I got a card as well. I don't think it was Tile. I think it was something else. And it has been placed appropriately.
Well, that's going to take us to the end of the show. Before we wrap up, we'll say thanks for listening, and you should come to our Discord server. If you're not over there, go to GonnaGeek.com/Discord. We'd love to see you over there and chat with us about all of these crazy happenings. There is lots of fun discussion, including movie trailers and technology, and even some smart home stuff, which I renamed, by the way, I included Home Lab, because there is other stuff that happens outside of smart homes that we needed in the area for.
And if you're a podcaster and you want to join the network, there is a private discussion channel available talking about things like blackmailing each other and kidnapping.
Yeah, that's true. That's in there. And I am definitely reading it right now. So for episode number 423, I'm Steven saying I'm definitely going to read this when we're done.
I'm SP saying I'm looking forward to the big rockets rolling.
I'm Chris, and I might read it when we're done.
No commitments. Bye!
That's how I like
it. Thanks for checking out another episode of the official GonnaGeek.com show. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review in Apple Podcasts or a thumbs up on YouTube. You can always join us for our live recording sessions at www.geeks.live. And remember, you can find our full back catalog at GonnaGeek.com/show. If you're itching for more geeky content, check out other shows on GonnaGeekNetwork.com. Voice work was by Emily Prokop of The Story Behind podcast. That's it for this episode. We hope to see you back again next show.